On today's show, it's time to get spicy. Our hottest takes going into the Senators' regular season.
And we'll analyze the Sens lines in their final practice before heading to Tampa.
This is Brady Kachuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators, the only daily podcast covering the Sens. On the outskirts of enemy territory, I'm Ross Levitan, alongside Brandon Piller up in the Blue Mountains. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Today is Wednesday, October 8th, and Pilsy, it's the night before Sens hockey, and I want to say it's quiet, but it's not. I put jalapenos, habanero peppers, a couple ghost peppers in my eggs this morning because I wanted to come in hot for today's show.
Yep, it's our annual Hot Takes episode. People were asking yesterday, when's it happening after we did our projections? So that was realistic, getting in the lab, working on numbers and stats numbers. But now we're just going off vibes, we're going off dreams, and we're getting spicy with it.
Yeah, the LOSP stats department yesterday went into full overdrive. So if you missed yesterday's show, go check that out. It was the verbal meme, that British guy waking up, he's all tired. LOSP stats department was dormant throughout the offseason, but we are all the way back. And there's precedent for our hot takes panning out, Pilsy. Last year, we'll analyze what we decided to go with, and you nailed the Linus Ullmark extension like right away. I want to say it was the next morning after the show came out. Ullmark signs the extension and the vibes just elevated. Well, Ullmark's contract kicks in right now. And with that, let's bring up our hot takes from last season. Pilsy had the Ullmark extension by New Year's. The Senators finishing top 15 in power play and in penalty killing. Didn't quite happen.
Oops.
And you had Tim Stützle leading the team in power play goals. He finished 5th on the team in power play goals.
Well, I mean, that just means our radar and our barometer for spice is dead on. The mild spice, or at least I'll speak for myself, my mild spice hit almost immediately. So you don't even need your glass of milk or water ready for that one. That's just to enjoy that chicken wing right away. Top 15 and in power play and PK. Look, I got one of those right. So half of that drumstick is spicy. The other half, the sauce didn't reach that side. So I was close, and Stützle leading the team in power play goals. I mean, that wasn't even close.
No. My spiciest take hit, though. The Battle of Ontario in round 1. And I needed a big second half, and I got it. But my medium spice hit as well.
Yep.
Sanderson, 56 plus points. And you might wonder, why did I choose 56? Well, 55 was the previous high by a Senators defenseman since Erik Karlsson left. That was Thomas Chabot.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted him to one-up it. Well, he two-upped it. Sanderson finished the season with 57 points. However, my mild didn't hit. All I needed was above 500 in November. Pilsy, not to bring up November's past. The spooky music, please play now. 5 wins in 14 games. That ain't going to cut it in November.
Yeah. Well, wait. So what was their percentage record in November? Do you have it? Math guy, stats department?
Yeah, 357.
Oh.
5-8-1 with a minus 11 goal differential.
Honestly, any November stats are just going to be tough. Although it's too bad, Ross, that the slump buster Lily Levitan wasn't born sooner, because she got a bunch of those percentages are from what, the last 2-3 games in November.
Yeah, they finished November 2-1-0. So they started November 3-7-1. That's a 273 points percentage in 11 games. So at least we started to see the light at the end of the tunnel with that win over Calgary, the win over San Jose to finish off the month, of course, losing to LA to wrap it up. But then December was obviously awesome. So those were the hot takes that got us rolling into this season. So not bad. Out of 6, we got 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got We got
Not
3.
half bad.
And we each shot, had a little bit of an impact on that. There was no hand in the group project. You don't even know what it's about. We each got one. So there you go.
There we go. We're a team.
We are. Come on, dude. Right before the season.
Sorry.
The timing of that was just, I don't know if it's poetic or disturbing, but it's one of the two.
So here we go. We've been cooking in the lab for this year's hot takes, Ross. Why don't you go ahead and reveal them?
Before we do, why don't we remind everybody that we want to hear your hot takes?
Yes.
You can go check us out on Twitter at Sens Centrals, where you can find us. And we want to know what your hottest takes are going to the season. Coming up a little later on in the show, we are going to read off some of your hottest takes. And with that, let's get to our own hot takes for the Ottawa Senators season. And we'll start with the least spicy and work our way up. I think that's an appropriate way to do things here. All right, Billsy, here we go. The first mild take for you is
goalie friendly show. Levi Merilainen will start 32 plus games this season, so more than 32 games. The reason I chose 32 is I think a lot of people are expecting Linus Ullmark to have a career high in starts, 50, so 82 minus 50, 32. So I believe that Levi will start 32 of those games. In our episode yesterday for projections, we had Levi Merilainen starting 27 games. So look, this is a mild take because games started doesn't necessarily reflect ability or anything like that. However, I do think that Linus Ullmark maybe isn't quite ready to take on the workload of a true number one. And I think the Ottawa Senators, from what they saw last year from Merilainen and the way they approached this offseason, not acquiring a legit NHL veteran backup, they believe in Merilainen. And I think on this contract, if they can get the most out of him on this 1-year deal, I think they're going to do that. And I also think Merilainen's going to start a lot of games in March and April while they try to keep Linus Ullmark fresh. And maybe that's more what I hope than truly believe, but I do think Merilainen is going to start more games than people necessarily think.
so more than just a back-to-back situation.
Yes, yeah, because also they see what they've got in him. Like, the worst thing they could do is have Merilainen sit on the bench for so many games and keep him cold. Now, obviously, being in NHL practices, that's going to improve your skills, but this guy's got to play. He's a gamer. We saw that. Like, just think about that Boston game. Sure, it didn't go well for him as well as the other games, but then he was like, okay, shootout time. I'm shutting this down. We're going to get the win here. Stops Pasta, gives him the stone cold death stare after. Like, this guy just wants to do his job, Ross. Let him do his job and start more than 32 games this season.
I'm going to go with a defenseman for my mild take, and that is Jake Sanderson becoming a lock for Team USA at the Olympics. And to be clear, this is to be in the top 6, not to get a free trip to Italy to go and watch downhill skiing on off days and hang out. I think Jake Sanderson will show that he is a top 3 left defenseman for Team USA. And you might be thinking, hey, he played at the Four Nations. He played well. He's going to be on that top 6. Well, let's remember that Quinn Hughes was not playing in the Four Nations, and he's a left defenseman. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and say that spot's taken. Then you move down, Zach Werenski, a Norris Trophy finalist this season. He's ahead of Jake Sanderson. That's 2. So that just leaves one opening on the left side. And this guy, Jacob Slavin, is pretty good defensively, and he's reliable, and he's the type of player that coaches trust. I think that there is a very strong argument to be made that, hey, yeah, Sanderson defends amazingly as well. I think Slavin is the best defensive defenseman in the National Hockey League right now. So that's a tough top 6 to crack. Of course, we don't want to see any injuries to any of those guys. I want this out of merit that he needs to be in the top 6. The other guys vying for that position on the left side, Noah Hannafin, who is also at Four Nations, is a left shot defenseman. Ryan McDonough, an older player, but man, this guy is a workhorse still and had like a plus 40 last year. He would be a reliable choice. I think he's on the team, McDonough, but he would be my extra defenseman as a guy who, hey, if he has to go in, he's a veteran presence and all that. Then you got Brady Shea, who had a big-time down year, but is a very good defenseman, and Alex Vlasic. Those were the left defensemen that were at Team USA's orientation camp. Do I think they all have a chance? No. And you can throw Jackson Lacombe in there too, just signed his nice ticket. But I think the biggest competition I'm going with here is Sanderson versus Jacob Slavin. I think Sanderson pulls away here and becomes a lock for the Olympics. Thoughts?
So let me ask you this. Is there a possibility that Sanderson plays on the right side?
You want to say
the
yes?
Avenue?
No, I don't, because the right side, I think, is spoken for by right shot defensemen, right? Charlie McAvoy will be on this team. And I just found out recently, his father-in-law is Mike Sullivan, head coach. Didn't realize that. He would make it off of merit as well. Yeah, he married Mike Sullivan's daughter.
Wow. Okay, so I think he's going to make the team.
So there's that. Adam Fox was not good at Four Nations, had a bad season for his standards. He's going to be on this team. By the way, Mike Sullivan, now the head coach for the New York Rangers. Adam Fox plays for the New York Rangers. And then Brock Faber plays for the Minnesota Wild. Bill Guerin, GM of the Minnesota Wild. He played at Four Nations as well.
This might be a spicier take than we're giving it now that we've worked through it. But I mean, I think people really understand how good Jake Sanderson is. But
there's a lot of talent. Seth Jones just won a cup. He's been a Team USA guy in the past. He's a right shot defenseman, of course. But yeah, I think Jake Sanderson becomes a lock for the Olympics. We'll get to more hot takes. We got the spicier ones coming up next. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Indeed. Look, you just realized your business needed to hire someone like yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates and fast? It's easy, guys. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed Sponsored Jobs puts your post at the top of the page and helps you reach the right candidates and faster. We've all been in that spot. If you have a business, you need that hire, and the pressure is on every day. Without that right person is setting your business back. That's exactly when you can use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. They make sure your post is seen by the right candidates right now. Now you can speed up your hiring process with a $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on the Locked On Senators podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed is all you need.
All right, Pillsy, we are just about 40 hours away from the Ottawa Senators season opener against the Tampa Bay Lightning. There was NHL action last night. The season opened at 5 o'clock on a Tuesday, as you would expect. The Florida Panthers do pull out the victory over Chicago, 3-2 the final score. Pittsburgh shuts out the New York Rangers, 3-0 on the road. And then out west, the Avalanche beat the LA Kings 4-1. I'm going to go ahead and say the points, they matter as much in October as they do in April. So I did have a little smirk when the Penguins got the win over the Rangers, because the Rangers, they're a team that you don't want to be in the mix with. I know Ottawa pulled away from them last year, but let's just see chaos continue in New York. They thought the Trouba and Kreider were the problem. No, let's hope it goes deeper than that, because I'd love nothing more than a nice low finish for the New York Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, I have them projected as my second wildcard team, so they're going to be fighting with Ottawa in the wildcard race, and to get shut out by the Pittsburgh Penguins with Arthur Shilovs as their starting goalie versus Shesterkin. Now, Shesterkin only allowed one goal, but that's not how the Rangers wanted to start that off when they saw the Pittsburgh Penguins as their first opponent.
Back to our hot takes. We've got Sanderson becoming an Olympic lock and Levi Merilainen starting 32-plus games. Let's get a little spicier here. And in this category, we're both going with career highs. I've got Tim Stützle setting a career high in goals. Shoot the puck, Timmy. Make me look good, buddy. 40-plus goals for Tim Stützle.
Now, how many shots do you think Tim Stützle is going to have to achieve that? I'm looking at his hockey reference right now, so I'm curious to see how you think he achieves this.
For context, in his 39-goal season, he had 228 shots on goal. Yep. Then he had 192, and last year he had 162. So I'm going to set it at 210 shots on goal.
Okay, so Tim Stützle's NHL 82 game average, shout out Hockey Reference, they do that, is 194 shots. So he's going to need, math guy, 16 more shots than that to get that done.
I think it's realistic. It averages out 210 divided by 82, 2.56 shots per game. I think Timmy should be aiming for 3.
Yep, I agree. 3 shots definitely. Now, again, in that year where he had 39 goals, he finished with 10 power play goals. Where's your marker for power play goals for him to hit 40?
Well, he's not going to lead the team in power play goals, Pilsy.
No, that would be a spicy take.
But I will say it has to be double digits. So I think 10 or 11 would be the perfect anecdote for that. Now, he did have one in the playoffs. Remember, unloaded that clapper against the Toronto Maple Leafs. But I'm going to go with 10 or more power play goals, 40 total goals. You know what? Throw in one shorty as well. This year. One short-handed goal for Tim Stützle. You're sticking in the middle of the ice with yours.
Yes, we're going to the second line center, Dylan Cozens. I believe he will have a career high in points. Now, Dylan Cozens' career high came in Buffalo in 2022-2023 season with 31 goals, 37 assists for 68 points in 81 games. Look, he had 16 points in 21 games with the Ottawa Senators and now in the regular season. And now that he's acclimated, he's getting opportunities on the power play. If his line mates are Perron and Batherson, I think they can make it work. Him and Batherson are a great duo. And I just think now the workhorse from Whitehorse has a chip on his shoulder, or a chip on his saddle, I guess, if you're a horse. Do horses have shoulders? I guess they probably do. Someone get back to us. We got a horse guy, Caleb. If you're listening, let me know. Do horses have shoulders? But I just think he's got a chip on his body, and he's now reignited his passion for hockey. Every single time the Buffalo Sabres trade a major piece of their team, they go on to have success. And I'll say it, I'll whisper it. They go on to win the Stanley Cup.
Well, yeah, Dylan Cozens
with their new team.
He won the Conn Smythe in the EA Sports simulation.
Yep, exactly. And now I did the math. I think I did it by years after. Like Ryan O'Reilly was 1 year after. Jack Eichel, I think, was 2 years after. And then Reinhart was 3 years after. So based on that pattern, we are going to have to wait until 2029 for Dylan Cozens to win the Stanley Cup. But I can wait that long, Ross. But speaking on my spicy take here, I believe he can get 69. Heck, I'll even say 70 points, Ross. I think somewhere in the high 20s, low 30s in goals, and somewhere in the mid 40s to 50 in assists. So I'm high on Dylan Cozens this year, and I think this is spicy because obviously a career high in points, but I won't be too shocked if and when it happens.
I want people in the comments to let us know which one of these two is more realistic. Timmy, 40 goals, or Dylan Cozens, 69 plus points. My spiciest take, Sens get home ice advantage in round 1, finishing top 2 in the Atlantic Division. I'm not going so far as saying win the division, but home ice advantage. We've talked so much about not caring whether we finish third, first wild card, second wild card. Getting the playoffs is very cool, and it's not going to be easy, but the goal should be home ice advantage, and they have the opportunity to do that with Florida injured, barely beating the Chicago Blackhawks to open their season. I know they dominated on shots on goal, but still, I'm saying home ice advantage, and that to me is pretty spicy. Sens haven't had home ice advantage since 2017.
Yeah, and just the impact having home ice advantage for not only the morale and obviously the advantages on the ice, but getting those extra home games. If you hear from owners and management and the business side of teams, that goes a long way. The more home playoff games you get is a big deal to the bottom line for teams' profits. So that would be awesome. And I don't like the Atlantic Division. The Ottawa Senators are now in the mix for it. I think last year you would have got laughed at for even thinking that was a possibility because the Senators just needed to find a way to get a wild card spot. But they were 1 point behind the Florida Panthers last year for third. So and then you hope that Toronto has a down year with the changes they've gone through. So it's not that crazy, Ross. It's spicy, but it can happen.
Yeah, I told you I had ghost peppers in my eggs this morning. Pillsy, your hottest take going into the season.
All right, my hottest take going into this season is your Ottawa Senators will have the league's best power play percentage. Number 1 in the league. I'm not messing around, tiptoeing around. First, Ross, I was like, okay, top 10, that's mild. They're going to do that. They were 11th last year with 23.8%. Utah was 10th with 24.2%. So they can get that uptick. And then I was like, okay, top 5. And then I thought, no, that's good. But like, I still think more. And then I thought about top 3. And then I put a little bit more habanero, Frank's Red Hot sauce, and some extra dried ghost peppers on my breakfast. And I said, no, let's get this team to the number 1 power play percentage. For reference, like I said, 23.8 was where the Senators finished last year. And that was 11th. The top power play was the Winnipeg Jets at 28.9. But where I had some hope, Ross, that this can happen. Do you know where the Ottawa Senators finished in power play goals for?
No, I don't.
The Ottawa Senators finished tied for first in power play goals for with 64, tied with, crazy, but we all remember the hot streak they had, the Detroit Red Wings, were the other team right there. So obviously, I think the Sens are going to get a lot of power play opportunities again, but the way these power play units are shaping up, and I'll get into this now, that'll lead into the lines that we're looking at later on in the episode. Let me just find where they are. Okay, so the first power play unit right now is Sanderson, Stützle, Tkachuk, Pinto, and Cozens. Now, I expect when Batherson comes back, he's going to take Pinto's spot, but that is an elite, nasty first power play unit. And then the second unit of Chabot, Giroux, Gregg, Zetterlund, and Perron. Again, I would probably swap Pinto and Perron once Batherson comes back and knocks everyone down. That's a wicked unit as well. And I think Zetterlund's going to have success there. So look out for the Ottawa Senators power play this season.
Are you worried that the Senators are going to regress in terms of their overall power play opportunities, though? They had 19 more power plays than any other team in the league last year.
That's a big part of it, Ross, but they were able to capitalize on a good percentage of those. And I think maybe if they get a little bit less opportunities, that's going to help their percentage wise, maybe less watered down, I guess. But I'm just so confident that the first power play unit can just get it done here. But let's say they lose the draw, they get a dump in, or the penalty kill gets a dump and they can't enter the zone again. All right, time for the second unit. For me, it's no longer just the second unit is just out there to waste ice time and get the top guys fresh for even strength. Like, this second unit can do damage as well. So I'm very confident in this team's man advantage.
Did you know the Ottawa Senators have had the most power play opportunities in the NHL for 3 straight years?
Yeah, they're right up there in getting power play opportunities. So
in 2022-23, they had 306 power play opportunities. No team in the last 3 years has had more than 290 after that. Wow. So they had 16 more than any other team. That was Pittsburgh the same season. And then 2 seasons ago, Ottawa had 283 power play opportunities. Next was Colorado with 5 less. So the Senators, most power play opportunities for 3 straight years. Maybe that's a hot take. Senators will again have the most power play opportunities. They play fast and they're able to draw penalties. Those are our hot takes going into the NHL season. I've got Sanderson becoming a lock for the Olympics to play in the top 6 for Team USA. Tim Stützle with a career high in goals, 40 or more, and home ice advantage in round 1 of the playoffs.
And my mild take is Levi Merlainen will start more than 32 games in the NHL this year. I should have prefaced that NHL. I think that was obvious, though. Then medium take, Dylan Cozens will have a career high in points with more than 68, so 69 or more. And my spicy take is that the Ottawa Senators will have the NHL's best power play percentage.
Your hot takes on the other side and a look at lineup notes from practice. Senators getting ready to fly to Tampa where they'll open the 2025-26 regular season. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here. We're kicked off already, but FanDuel is making sure you're ready for every single kickoff with a can't-miss offer. If you haven't joined FanDuel yet, that's okay, because right now is a great time to join because new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel. Ross does, and you should too, because it fits however you like to bet. Player props, they got all sorts of fun ones. Same game parlays, so many different options to put together your favorite parlay or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. Now, obviously, the NFL is big right now, but it's playoff baseball, and the Toronto Blue Jays have to find a way to bounce back. They are plus 144 in the money line to close out the series up against the Yankees in the Bronx. The over-under set at 8.5. And if you want to ride Canada's team, get on that bandwagon, do it with FanDuel because it's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to all your favorite sporting events. So, you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
All right, Pilsy, the regular season is underway, but you can still get your futures in for the Stanley Cup and team point totals over at FanDuel. The Ottawa Senators point projection right now is sitting at 95.5 points. Hitting the over is minus 108. So if you bet $100 or $108, you will win $100. Should say if you bet 18, you win 10. All right. No, that's not how it works. $10.80. Not a math guy. Not a math guy here.
Just go to FanDuel, click it in, and FanDuel will do the math for you. Another reason we love FanDuel.
Absolutely. Could not be more correct on that. I hope that some of these citizens writing in on Twitter at Sens Central are correct with their hot takes for the season, because holy smokes, we got some spicy ones here. Everybody has been diving in to the peppers this morning. Pilsy, let's just roll through it, and I want you to stop when you get to one that just catches your attention. We've got Owen saying Jake Sanderson for Norris. I felt like that would probably be or how about this? We'll classify where these go, whether it's mild, medium, or hot. Jake Sanderson, Norris.
That's a full hot. Only because, and I've said it, sorry for repeating myself, they just hand the Norris to whoever gets the most points, and I do not think he will outpoint Quinn Hughes or Cale Makar.
Cale Makar had 30 goals last year, so the bar has been set extremely high. KJS, Shane Pinto will be a Selke nominee, top 3.
I'll give that a medium because I think people are starting to take notice of how good Shane Pinto is defensively, and no one knows better than you, Ross. This is a contract year for Shane Pinto, and he's going to try to put up some big points so he can go to the table with a lot of leverage.
JB and Yellowknife. What up, Yellowknife? Cozens scores the second most goals this season for the Sens.
I'll put that as a full spicy hot. I don't think he's getting more than Timmy, Brady, and Batherson. Or those guys, I should say.
Sens fan in QC. 2 100-point seasons. One by Timmy, the other by the Sens.
I'll put that as medium. I wanted to say mild. It's not crazy for the Sens to get 100 points, Ross, and if your spicy take hits, that'll happen. And Timmy had what was it, 90 that year that
Correct.
90. So 10 more points from him could happen.
Vic, Shane Pinto gets Selke votes. I think getting vote is a mild one, but finishing as a nominee, that's a little more spicy. Vic wants to win the cup. Vic saying, hey, let's not pussyfoot around here. Let's win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I mean, that's very spicy. However, EA Sports thinks it's possible.
It's in the game.
There you go.
Sens Army, Pat, Sanderson over 70 points. I think that's between mild and medium.
Yeah. No, that's medium. That would be a 15-point increase. That's tough
13.
to do as a defenseman.
13.
Didn't he have 57?
57 plus 13. Oh, 17. Not okay. We're having trouble with math today. Wait. No, it's 13, dude. 57 plus 13 is 70.
Okay, and now reread what he put.
Over 70 points.
Yes, there we go.
Okay. Ridley Gregg leads the league in shorthanded goals.
No, if that was Pinto, I'd be on it with you, but I don't think it's going to be Ridley Gregg. I honestly think Michael Amadio will have more shorthanded goals than Ridley Gregg.
And the Sens trade for Alex Tuck.
Dude, I'm such an Alex Tuck guy. He would fit in so nicely here, but you're going to have to give Buffalo a pretty decent package to acquire Alex Tuck. So that's pretty spicy for me, but I do like Alex Tuck a lot.
And I like how he's calling his shot. He's like, hey, not only are the Sens going to trade for a top 6 guy who scored 36 goals last year, but like, I'm telling you exactly who it is.
Yeah, like that is arguably the Sabres' biggest trade chip if they can't get him extended. How much is left on his deal? I think 1 or 2 years. But he's at a nice cap hit. But what the heck do the Buffalo Sabres want? Like, I just don't know what kind of package you would give them, because that Peterka deal, nobody could have mocked up Doan and Kesselring for Peterka.
Yeah.
So I have no clue what kind of deal you would present to Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see, but I like the spiciness from that one. Let's get a couple more in, actually. We got some time here. Nick Spence. Zub plays 80-plus games, which would be great because he's been injured quite a bit.
Yep. I'll say that's medium, because if he's healthy, he's playing all 82, so it's just about the health there.
Jacob Adkins. Pinto, 65 points. Zetterlund, 30 goals.
I'll put that as medium, because I could see both happening. Big year for Pinto, and Zetterlund wants to prove himself. If Zetterlund ends up playing majority of the year on that top line with Brady and Timmy, I mean, he had 24 goals in San Jose playing top 6. Now he's on the second power play unit, and I believe he will stay there. But I'm a Zetterlund guy, so I like it, Jacob.
More wide scope than Pat. Derek Lee says the Sens will make a significant trade midseason to address scoring.
I'll say that's medium. I do not believe the Ottawa Senators will be making any big trades no matter how the season goes. I think they're pretty comfortable with how their team looks, and that's justified by the offseason they've had.
Jack says Martian's going to attend 25 home games minimum. Martian is known for getting his boots on the ground at the CTC. Grumps, Pinto, the second line center, and hopefully they ditch the diamond formation. That's a hope, not a take.
Yeah, I'll go spicy on that. I don't think he'll jump over Cozens. I think Travis Green really likes Pinto as that third line center, and the Ottawa Senators they're women in their mid to late 20s. They are obsessed with diamonds, and they're doing the diamond formation until they're just doing it. There's no until.
There are plenty more great hot takes from the citizens over on Twitter at Sens Central, so you can go check out the full load of replies. Just click on twitter.com, locked on, Senators at Sens Central. Pillsy, practice updates today before the team took off to Tampa. Drake Batherson has been ruled out for tomorrow, but it does not seem to be long-term. He's hopeful to play either Saturday or Monday in the home opener. So tough news that his Ironman streak is coming to an end. He had played 82 games in each of the 3 previous seasons since that Aaron Dell situation. So that's unfortunate. Obviously a big part of the team up front, but it's good news that it's not long-term. And Steve Staios spoke to media today, said Batherson closer than Tyler Clevin. So Clevin will also be out for tomorrow's game, which brings us to the lines. And with that, Donovan Sebrango is expected to start the season on the bottom pair with Nicholas Matinpalo. We thought yesterday was potentially just a, hey, let's see how it looks with Matinpalo Sebrango, but Jordan Spence is expected to be a healthy scratch in the season opener.
Yeah, maybe I'm just not dialing into this as much as other Sens fans. I think a lot of Sens fans are freaking out. I think, Ross, and you talked about this yesterday, and I saw our guy Everyday Sens mention this too. I think they're looking at the opponents of Florida and Tampa and being like, look, these are big, heavy, mean teams. Let's get Sebrango and Matinpalo together. Matinpalo is more of a shutdown physical guy than Spence, and then Sebrango obviously is there because Tyler Clevin isn't. Clevin did skate for like 12 minutes, I think he practiced, then he left, so he's working on coming back here. But I think the 2 Florida games will likely see these guys be the bottom pair, and then once Clevin is back, I'm aiming, Brandon Piller, not a doctor, but I'm aiming for Cleven to be back for the home opener. Then I would be shocked, and then I would be concerned if the bottom pair is not Cleven Spence.
Tim Stützle will be your top centerman between Brady Tkachuk and Fabian Zetterlund. Dylan Cozens will center David Perron and Michael Amadio. The quote-unquote third line is Shane Pinto in between Ridley Gregg and Claude Giroux. The fourth line has Lars Eller anchoring the center ice position between Nick Cousins and Curtis McDermott. On the back end, Jake Sanderson with Artem Zub, Thomas Chabot with Nick Jensen, Donovan Sabrango with Nicholas Matinpalo, and you'd expect Linus Ullmark to start in goal. Thoughts on Ole Lycksell being the extra forward instead of a Nick Cousins or Curtis McDermott?
I'll go with the exact same theory that the coaching staff, I assume, has about that bottom pair with the fourth line is Tampa, Florida, big, heavy teams. You want your bottom pair, you want your fourth line to have some edge, some toughness, more grinding than actual kind of offensive talent. So I don't think it's a knock on Spencer Lycksell. I think this is Travis Green, the coaching staff, looking at the opponent across the ice and trying to match what they believe those guys do best. Now, if you're Lars Eller, I'm sure you're sitting there being like, I don't know if I signed up to be playing beside Nick Cousins and Curtis McDermott, but I don't think it's going to be a long-term thing.
No, and Ole Lycksell obviously is a guy that is not going to be expected to put up offensive numbers either, but I think he just brings more to the table than I think he deserved to play over Nick Cousins if you're basing it off a training camp. But classic veterans get the seat at the table first, and you have to beat the man to be the man. I am so excited about this third line, though, with Shane Pinto, Ridley Gregg, and Claude Giroux. Like, doesn't that just have a little bit of everything? And we've talked about this throughout the summer. If that does become the trio it looks like it is, you know the defensive acumen of Pinto and Gregg, and Giroux is just a cerebral player, but he just brings, I think, a little more offense to that line that will help complement those two and help them be more confident in the offensive zone.
Yep, agreed. I love the chemistry between Pinto and Giroux. And don't overlook Giroux's defensive ability, too. Like, how many times does Giroux make a great diving play to stop the offense from keeping it in the O zone, or even vice versa, to keep it in the O zone? Like, Giroux is a gamer, man. Like, sure, he's older and he's slowed down, but that intensity and that fire is still there, and he makes desperate plays and he makes smart, responsible plays. So I'm with you, Ross. I love this third line of Gregg, Pinto, and Giroux, and I'm just glad that Travis Green has decided that it's time to shake up that top line, because I don't think Giroux should be playing top 6 minutes, especially not top line with Brady and Timmy.
And then you look at Amadio being the placeholder for Drake Batherson, and when you're on the road, I think that's perfectly fine. Not like they have too many other options unless it was going to be Giroux there. I just think that, well, this might also kind of show, hey, you take one of your top 3 forwards out of the lineup, things are going to look a little less depth-wise, but Amadio, great stick, great defensively, and Tampa has an enormous talent in their top 6. So you want to be able to kind of match that with some defensive responsibility throughout the lineup. And it looks like Ottawa is going to have that here with Amadio playing with Cozens. So that's how it's likely going to shape up for the Ottawa Senators tomorrow when they open the season. We'll await the morning skate. Again, it's a 7:00 start tomorrow night. So we'll see if there's any updates. We'll get that to you tomorrow in Locked On Senators. Today, we want to know in the comments, though, your hottest takes for the Ottawa Senators season. I'm really excited to read all of them and then go back to them in April and see who nailed what. Pilsy, any final thoughts on today's show?
Yes, final thoughts for me is the Ottawa Senators are back, Ross, if you'll allow me to say it. Tomorrow, they are back. And you know what else is back when the Ottawa Senators are back? The POSTCAST. Oh my God. I'm excited to get back to the POSTCAST. We had people asking us, hey, are you guys going to do POSTCAST for the rookie tournament? No, not quite. Are you guys going to do POSTCAST for the preseason? No. The POSTCAST is sacred, and we wanted to keep it for the regular season. So we've kept you waiting. We've kept ourselves waiting. We've been chomping at the bit. And after the game in Tampa, we're going to be vibing, and you can join along by following with the POSTCAST. So I'm very excited for that, Ross.
Our last postcast last season hit 300 career postcasts here on Locked On Senators. Again, this is all our own volition. This is us going where you are when you need us. And we need you as well. So please join us on the postcast throughout this season. We have live reaction after every single game. And we've been doing it since December of 2021. The Senators had the worst November of all time in the NHL. And we said, you know what? We need to vent. Let's talk about it. And I think we've missed 3 games since then.
Yeah, it hasn't been much. Yeah, just a couple here and there.
So we appreciate the heck out of everybody for making the postcast what it is. And even though we haven't done them in the preseason, we've been having internal meetings about how to make it the best it can be. So we hope you join us again for season 4 of the postcast. Tonight's NHL schedule has 4 games, including the Montreal Canadiens against the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Boston Bruins visiting the Washington Capitals, a Battle of Alberta with the Oilers hosting the Flames, and then the LA Kings playing back-to-back to start the season. They've just lost to Colorado last night at home, and now they're traveling to Vegas to play in the Golden Knights opener. Pilsy, who do you cheer for in a Montreal-Toronto game?
Sens.
I love it. I love it. I was going to give you the exact same answer. And go Capitals, because I don't want the Bruins to have any sort of like, oh, it's us against the world. We're actually better than everyone thinks. Let's have all of our divisional rivals just lose. So I'm cheering for no overtime in Toronto.
Yeah, that's
Montreal.
the big one. Yes.
That's the big one there. And I'd probably lean Toronto because I'd say it's more likely that Toronto is going to maintain one of their spots. Plus, if the Habs start slow, there's going to be not a seed of doubt. A tree of doubt is going to just sprout up overnight that, hey, was last year a fluke? So let's have that be the case. Hope you enjoyed opening night in the NHL and our hot takes episode. If you want more Sens content, you can find us everywhere you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Like 40 hours of content throughout the summer here? But I was going to wait till tomorrow, Pilsy, to say hockey's back. But hockey, it's back. And we couldn't be happier that the Ottawa Senators are getting on a plane today to start the regular season. For more, again, check out the podcast, and you can find us on social media at Sens Central. We appreciate you liking, watching, listening, and engaging with the show. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.